Hi, it has been a while. I'm really sorry for the long absence, but I just didn't felt like filming. So here I am today, and I'm trying to be quick, but I have a ton of progress. Oh, by the way, no stitching happened. I'm still in a very huge knitting kick, and that's what I've been doing. I've been like knitting up a storm. I think my last update was about 3 months ago, and since then I had like a pile of finished project to show you. And I also been on vacation for almost 3 weeks in Northern California to see family and to enjoy the wonderful parks and nature they have over there, and it has been amazing. And I have acquired a kind of insane amount of stash, and I'm already telling you I'm not gonna show all of it. I will show it as far as long. I mean, every time I start something in the future, I will say where I got it. I'm not. It's insane. So I'd say I better stay in my cupboard. And without further ado, I better get started and show you what I have been doing in these 3 months. So last time we spoke, I had just started a shawl from called the Meandering shawl it's a Stephen West pattern, and it was my first project using the brioche stitch, and I finished it. It has this meandering pattern through the center, and this scalloped edging, which I really loved. This shawl was knit from, let me check my Ravelry page. By the way, I will link all my Ravelry project page down below of everything I'm gonna show you. This was knit from a yarn, the purple part of it. It's a yarn, a variegated yarn I acquired in Vienna last winter, and the brand is Woolgarn Spinneray Farner Carousel. Sorry, I know I butchered that. And the color is the number 15, and it was like a variegated gray, purple, and black. And I paired it with a very anonymous light gray yarn I got from my local yarn store, and it's called Cesia Dahu, and the colorway was number 6012, and it's just a gray. And those two yarn on their own didn't say much, but once I put them together, I'm pretty happy with the result I got. The shawl is really big, and I love it, but I think it's gonna be a gift. We'll see. And if it will be a gift, I'm gonna need another one for myself, because I really enjoyed it. And I became, as my friend Linda have told me when I started learning brioche, it's addicting, and now I want to knit everything in brioche. So after I finished that, I worked on some socks. I finished a tiny pair of socks that I don't have here, as they were a gift, and they were just baby sock, and they're gone, and I don't have a picture available, so not gonna see that. And the next pair of socks I finished was my test knit for our very good friend Sadie from Sadie Rowan. She's also a yarn dyer. It's the Knitter Nightmare yarn, which is amazing. And the sock pattern is called the Flying V. It has this, let's see if I can show you, this very cool V design all along the sock. And I knit this on a yarn from one of my favorite dyer, which is Wild Spinster, and it's in her, I believe, BFL. Yes, it's BFL sock base. I don't think it has any nylon, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, they are really soft and they feel really sturdy, so I can't wait to see how those wear. And Sadie put a traditional heel flap and gusset, and which I really like. It's like my favorite kind of heel. It's the one that fit better my foot, and I'm really happy with how they turn up. And yeah, I have two. I wasn't showing the second one, but I do have both finished. So this was another finished object, and I finished this in June 29. So sorry, I keep looking at my notes, otherwise I don't have the right order. So the next thing I worked on was this year, as you know, I have discovered Stephen West. I'm the last person in the planet who did that. And I really love his work. And he came up with his third yarn along, which is some sort of a club. You get 3 skein of yarn every month through June, July, and August, and a pattern to go with it. And the first, I only completed the first one. The other, I have plans, and they will be done, but I haven't had the time to do it yet. But the first pattern I received, and the first yarn, was it's a shawl, and it's called Meshy Twist. It's done with the Ushitita Merino single in the color Crushing It, Beach Babe, and Strike a Pose. Now those yarn, from what I understand, are specific for the club, and they won't be available to buy. I don't know if they will become available in a later day. I know the pattern will. I don't know about the yarn. So Crushing It is this, Strike a Pose is this like a darker red with the lighter punch. And then it fade into this orange, which is Crushing It, and then it finish on this awesome blue, which is Beach Babe. And I love this shawl so far. I think it's the favorite thing I knit. I wear it a lot this summer, and I really enjoyed knitting it. It was a lot of fun, even if I have to tell you, a picot bind off over, I think, something like 800 stitches almost did me. But I had it done, and I really absolutely love this shawl. I don't know how to show these things. It's all a learning curve. But anyway, this is another finish, and this was finished on July 15. Took me about, I think every shawl I've done so far have taken me more or less a month to do. So that's pretty good. So next I wanted to try to knit some mittens, and I had this skein of Malabrigo worsted that I originally bought to use in the Better Than Sex Brioche cowl, but it didn't work with the other color I had, so I had it there sitting around, and it's this fun, crazy color here. And I thought, I want to try some mittens, and that looks pretty good for mittens, and I'm really happy how they turn up. I have 2 of them, so it's a complete finish. They're really warm. And the pattern is called Handful of Berries Mitten by Jocelyn Tani. And it was really easy to do, and it has this very neat line here of on the thumb increases, and other than that, it's like super simple. And more of the handful of berries in my case is like a handful of pine and oranges, but which, you know, sound pretty good. But I really like them, and I'm sure they will brighten my winter, which, you know, I hate winter and I hate dark colors. I like bright colors, so those were perfect to fit those requirements. So I think those took a day, and not even a full day, just a few hours each day of work to be, you know, finished. They went really fast. And I'm definitely gonna make more mittens in the future. I actually want to definitely want to try some color work mitten. They are in my queue, and we'll see how it goes. But those were definitely fun to make, and they really, I had them done, like here it says 4 days, but you know, I didn't work for 4 days continuously on them. And I finished those on July 20, which was perfect because it was like 1,000,000 degrees here, and I was working on super warm worsted weight yarn mittens. Perfect. So the next project I worked with, oh yeah. So as you probably, if you follow any of the yarn dyer or you know anything in the yarn knitting community in general, you probably heard about what Comtesse Blaze did with the Tits Out Collective. It was a charity initiative and it was absolutely amazing. And I had been wanting to in some way, you know, participate. And of all the yarn that has been created for the event, the one that I decided to buy is a yarn dyed by my friend Lise at 3 Lise. She is a French girl living in Greece, and I love her yarn, and she has an awesome name for them. So this one is one of the color. It's a merino yak, superwash merino, 20%, 70% superwash merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon base. Her base is called Yama, and the colorways is if I wanted exposure, I will get my tits out, powerful tits, which was her rendering of the Comtesse Blaze color. So the yak base make the yarn base a little gray to start, so the color are not as can't be as brilliant and you know, they have a gray hue to them, which I really liked. So I got one skein of this, and as I was purchasing from her, I really had to have one of her yarn which has my favorite name, which is the middle finger. So this one is in her Ares base, which is a 75 superwash merino, 20% nylon, and it's 425 meter for 100 gram, and it has this dark gray black color with this punch of lime, almost fluorescent, I would say, green, which I really like. And what I decided to make with those two yarn, which by the way Liz helped me find a good combination of colors, and I when I saw those two I totally went for them, is a shawl that has been in my queue for a while, and it's a pattern by Leslie Ann Robinson by Knit Graffiti Design, and it's called the Rebel Shawl. It was a tribute to oh no, I knew I would not remember the name. I'm getting there. Yeah, it was a tribute to Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia in Star Wars. When she died, Leslie designed this shawl. And so it's a brioche pattern with this super cool lace border. Well, it's not really, I don't know if you can call it lace brioche. It doesn't have yarn, holes. But anyway, it's a brioche design. I'm trying to fold it up so you can see it better. Yeah, see, it has all those sort of very intricate bubbles. And it goes, it starts very simple. Then you start doing one bubble here. And then as you go, the bubble become two, and then you do the last part where there is this super intricate pattern, which I really like to do. It was a lot of fun. I like it in both. I choose to do the orange yak yarn in the foreground and the middle finger black green yarn in the background, and to be honest, I like both version. I mean, I can wear this in both sides and I would perfectly happy with it. I think it's a shawl I will probably wear a lot. So this I believe is all for, and I finished this on August 15 while I was on vacation in California. So this is all for my finished object since we last spoke, and I have 2 work in progress. Now the first work in progress, I'm keeping it in this nice pouch I got at Yosemite National Park. It has a bear, and I saw a bear not in Yosemite but in Lake Tahoe, and I was very close. So when I saw this, I had to get it. And it's not, I mean, it wasn't meant for knitting, but it totally fit the pair of socks, so I loved it. And this is a pair of socks I started before leaving, but I just had like a few rounds on the cuff, and it was ready for me to work on while I was on vacation. And I had a fair amount of knitting done when I was away. I finished the first sock, so the pattern is called Vanilla is the New Black. It's a plain vanilla sock with a twist, and the twist is in the heel, which I don't know if you'll be able to see on this very dark yarn, but it has that very cool ribbed, the increases is done in that very cool rib design, and then the decreases goes along here. So overall they give the sock a super nice look. And I'm knitting this in a Zauberbug Crazy by Shopper Wool in the color, I don't remember the color. There it is. It's well, I think it's something like cinnamon bun translated, but the German name it's Zimtschnecke, something like that. And anyway, it's the color 2248. So you can't see it very well in the picture. My light today is come and goes because it's cloudy, but it has those this marbled kind of effect. Maybe we can see it better in the yarn. Yeah, sort of. It has this all those section different color, and it goes on and on throughout the entire bowl, so the 2 socks won't be the same. I actually like him, almost like it better on the pearl side. It kind of enhances the marling effect. Anyway, I really like this sock. Unfortunately, I think it's a little too big for me, so it's gonna go on my gift pile. But yeah, there you can see the yarn a little bit better. And I finished one while I was traveling, and I started the second one. And I have the cuff done, I have the leg done, and I am about, I don't know, halfway through the heel. So a sock and a half, that's not too bad. So those will be probably finished soon, but as you know, I use sock as my, almost exclusively as my travel project or project for evening when I am too pooped to do anything else. So my next work in progress is housed in my Mini Moo sewing bag. I bought this in the US. She has a Etsy store, and she makes some bags that are very, very, very similar to the Fringe Supply field bag, and they are in canvas and they have the leather strap. I like, and she has really, really affordable prices. But what I actually ended up getting from her was some of her like exclusive color combination with for this style of bag. So this is the bag, one of the bag I got. It's very big. It has a leather handle, and it's made on, this is like denim fabric, and it's completely lined with this like floral, and it has one pocket here on the side, and I love this bag. It has a lot of space, and it's like it has a drawstring to the top, so it has a lot of space. And right now it's housing my other work in progress, which I started while I was traveling. And this is a pattern called, it's a sweater. It's the first sweater I knit in over 25 years, something like that. It's a pattern by Kathleen Hunter, Boylan Knitwork, and it's called the Zweig sweater. And I have seen many versions of this or Ravelry, thousands of people have made it, and it's one of the first sweater I saw when I started using Ravelry, and I liked it right away, and I knew I was gonna make it at some point. So it's fitting that it's the first sweater I knit after so long. So I am knitting this in you use 2 colors, and looking for my, I should have done this before, but you know me. So the main color I'm using is a Knit Pick yarn. It's a stroll fingering in the color Cordial Tonal, and it's this like a variegated burgundy. It has some darker part, and like I really like this color. And the second color, and it's a 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And the color I decided to pair it with, I actually found, I had pre-ordered this, and it was waiting for me at some family member house when I got there. And the second color, I found it visiting shops around Northern California. I believe I found this. I found this in a store called the Black Squirrel. It's in Berkeley, California, and it's called the color is called Half Breed. I hand wound this while I was traveling because I couldn't wait to start. And it's from the Farmer Daughter Fiber in her squish fingering base, which is 100% superwash merino. And it's like this almost natural color yarn with some lime splash, little speckle, and some burgundy speckle. So I thought it was really fitting, and it goes really well with, you know, this other one. And what I have so far, I have, this is the first time I do color work, by the way, and the amount of color work on this sweater is not a lot, but it was enough to stumble me, and it took me a while to figure out the better way to do it, to make it like go a little faster. I usually knit with holding my yarn on my right hand, so I believe it's the English style, but I flicker, so that make me a little faster. And I tried to knit continental, but I feel like I'm old thumbs and it doesn't go very well. But by the end of the color work in this sweater, I figured that the way that make me go faster and still give a nice consistency to my tension is holding one yarn on my right hand and flickering it, and the other yarn on my left one and picking it. So that went pretty good. So I finished the lace yoke, and I split for the sleeve, and I'm just on a few rows into the body. So the sweater, as you probably have seen it a million times, has this little bit of color work and this really pretty lace yoke. And now I choose to do the pattern as charted, so I'm gonna work, you can't really see, it has like those little 1x1 ribbing axis throughout the body. I'm gonna do them on the body. I'm probably not gonna do it on the sleeves because I don't know. We'll see how I feel when I get there. Anyway, this is how far I am with this, and that's pretty much all I have to show. The sweater is going pretty fast, faster than I anticipated, and as given the amount of time I have to work on it. The only other thing I want to show you is, well, this is the other mini moose sewing bag I got. This doesn't have the leather handle, it's just this very sturdy canvas. It's kind of, it stands by its own, a lot more sturdier than this, which is like softer. And it has two giant pockets, one for each side. One is like a full pocket, you can't really see, yeah, there it is, a full pocket, and the other is like split in two. It's over here, yeah, split in two. So yeah, it's very nice to put all your notion and stuff that you carry around when you are working on your project. And what's inside here is what I'm probably gonna cast on very soon. This was the second installment of Stephen West yarn along. The yarn, where are all my labels? Okay. The yarn is a merino single, superwash merino single. It's the base is called Uptown Sock, and the dyer is skein. Sorry, it was upside down. And what came with that mantle was those three colors, which I mean, I'm not a pink person, but I kind of like, it's not that much pink, so it's still, I can't live with it. It's still pretty nice colors. And actually this one, which is the pinkiest, really remind me of like a cream and cherry ice cream, which I used to love, and I can't have anymore because I'm lactose intolerant, and cream, ice cream, and me doesn't mix. So, but at least I can have a skein of it. So it came with those three skein, and the pattern that came with them is called Deco Drape, and you can look it up on Ravelry, and it has a very color schematic and actually a Art Deco look to it. And I wasn't very, I don't know, I'm not sure about the pattern and if it's something I want to work on. So what I have decided to do with this yarn is to knit what has been from the very beginning a Stephen West shawl that I really wanted to do, which is the exploration station. And I'm trying to get like a good picture of it to show, but I'm sure, it's a pretty popular pattern. It's that one. So that requires 4 colors. A dark color, which will be this one. And this is still skein yarn, the same base, and the color is called Very Cherry. The second darkest color, I mean a little lighter, will be this one called Summer Nights. And the third one is the one I just showed you, which is called Pink Jean. Okay, so I needed a 4th color, and I looked for it while I was in the US. And what I found, well, as I said, let me tell you, Ravelry road trip, it's a very dangerous thing, but it's awesome. So pretty much we did almost over 3,000 kilometers. We drove over 3,000 kilometers throughout Northern California. So we hit a lot of places. And I tried to figure out, every time we were moving from A to B, if there was a yarn store in the way, and if it was in a not so far away that it was reachable. And I found a lot. So this one I found in a store called, I believe, here it is. Okay, sorry, I know I am really not very organized. Okay, I found it in a store called Babette Yarn, and I think it's in a town called Fair Oaks, California. And the yarn is called Plymouth Yarn Estilo. That's the band. And the color is called Lime Mix. And this is it. It's very kind of similar to the one I'm using on the swag. It's a single, and it has this lime tone and darker gray, darker green, and those little spot of burgundy. So let me see if I can hold them all together. I think this will make a nice exploration station for myself. So this is next. I have had a skein winding party the other night. I think I cranked the 8 skein of yarn, and I was very sore afterward, so I'm not gonna crank yarn for a while, I think. But anyway, I think this will be my exploration station, and it will go on my needle pretty soon. Just because having reached the body on the sweater is the same over and over and over and over for miles. So I'm probably gonna need something alternative to knit on if I want something a bit more complex. So this will be it. And it's funny because pretty much, most of what I knit this summer is in very similar colors. And they are color I love, so that's probably why. So this has been going on for longer than I anticipated. I have stuff to do, so I better go, and I hope to see you sooner than this time, but I don't make any promise. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube as OriettaStitches, so that's pretty easy to find. And I wish you a lot of crafty time, and have fun with whatever you decide to make. See you next time. Bye.